more than 50 women have disappeared near the same isolated mountains in California. And for years, no one stopped it. No bodies, no answers, just a growing list of names, all connected to one place, the Sutter Buttes. And what investigators would eventually uncover was far more disturbing than anyone imagined. It all began with a 20-year-old named Hala Abu Saba. In the early 2000s, a quiet unease settled over the small towns surrounding the Sutter Buttes in Northern California. This cluster of volcanic hills held whispers of countless stories, but none as harrowing as what was about to unfold. Hala was joyful and ambitious. One day, she went out for a routine walk and never came back. At first, it didn't seem unusual. The local sheriff's department treated it as just another missing persons case. But as days turned into weeks and weeks into months, something darker began to take shape. Then, another woman vanished, and then another. Families organized search parties, combing through the dense forests and steep valleys surrounding the buttes. Hope slowly gave way to fear. Rumors spread of shadows moving at night, of something watching from deep within the hills. The landscape itself began to feel hostile, quiet, isolating, and full of secrets. As the years passed, the number of missing women continued to grow. What once seemed like isolated incidents began to form a pattern. Posters lined the streets, names circulated through whispers, and a chilling question began to take hold. Was someone out there, hunting? In 2018, Detective Sarah Lindgren joined the investigation, driven by a growing sense that something had been overlooked. She began digging into old case files, looking for connections others had missed. What she found was deeply unsettling. Many of the victims had crossed paths, shared social circles, visited the same places, moved through the same quiet routines. And even more disturbing, similar disappearances had been reported as far back as the late 1990s. Cases that had been dismissed, forgotten, ignored. As Lindgren pushed further, the community began to fracture under fear and suspicion. Town hall meetings turned tense, filled with frustration, grief, and unanswered questions. People were no longer just afraid. They were angry. Then, in 2019, a witness came forward. She described seeing a shadowy figure near a remote trail leading into the buttes. The same night, Hala disappeared. For the first time, the possibility of a single predator became real. But before answers could come, more women vanished. The number climbed higher, 20, 30, then 50. By 2021, the nightmare reached its breaking point. A young woman named Jessica Tanner, just 23 years old, was found in a shallow grave near the base of the buttes. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community. It confirmed what many had feared all along. These mountains weren't just hiding stories. They were hiding bodies. Search teams moved in, combing through the thick terrain with dogs and equipment. What they uncovered was devastating. Skeletal remains scattered across the hills, each one a silent witness to years of neglect and unanswered cries for help. The Sutter Buttes, once seen as a place of quiet beauty, had become something else entirely. A graveyard, a warning, a symbol of how long something can hide when no one is looking closely enough. In the end, the investigation exposed more than just a series of disappearances. It revealed a system that had failed to act, failed to connect the dots, and failed the very people it was meant to protect. But from that failure came a reckoning, renewed investigations, increased funding, and a growing movement demanding justice for the women who were lost. Still, For many families, answers remain out of reach, and the shadows of the Sutter Buttes remain quiet, watching, and never fully understood.